In this video, we're going to discuss cost drivers. So a cost driver is just an activity that causes cost to occur. So if we're thinking about an ice cream store, the more ice cream cones that they make, the more cost that they're going to have. Right? Some common cost drivers that you'll see in practice are the number of machine hours. So if you think about running a machine for 10 hours and you have a certain amount of cost, if you were to run the machine for 1,000 hours instead of 10 hours, you probably have a lot more maintenance costs and so forth. So therefore, we'd say that the number of machine hours could be an important cost driver, because when there's a change in the activity level, and by activity level, we mean like the number of machine hours, or we could have something else like the number of direct labor hours, the number of units produced, if we're thinking about the ice cream cones, number of employees, any number of things. When there's a change in the amount of that activity level, then we're going to see a change in the amount of costs. And so that's the whole idea behind a cost driver, is there's this cause and effect relationship. The activity happens, we make an ice cream cone, that results in costs. Now, this is going to be a really important concept because traditional costing systems typically just have one cost driver that they identified and used to apply manufacturing overhead. So they just take something like machine hours and say, okay, that's the cost driver. And so whenever this occurs, that's what we're going to use to apply manufacturing overhead, which we'll talk about in future videos if you're not quite too clear on that. But basically, they just use one cost driver, and we said, you know what, actually, there are a lot of different things that, we might have this thing over here, this activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, activity 4, 5. There might be 5, 6, 7, 10 different cost drivers that are actually affecting cost for the company. So if the company wants to do a really good job measuring costs and figure out what is the cost per unit produced and so forth, then they really need to get a handle on these cause and effect relationships. And that led to the development of activity-based costing, which is a lot more precise and actually takes into consideration a number of different cost drivers. And we'll talk about all these concepts in the videos to come.